one. Oh, yeah. Here we are. You are on Live with the Tribe. I am, of course, the real bomb, Randall. And the guy to my left or my right, I don't know, it's Coach Mark Berokoff. And we decided to play a little Counting Crows because that's what he loves. Coach, how you doing, man?
Good, H. How are you doing?
I am doing all right. Now, if you guys don't know who Mark Berokoff is, you are missing out. Okay, not only has he won a California CIF championship, he also now, just a few days ago, won back-to-back national championships with Randall University. He has built an amazing program. Coach, I tell you, your journey has been unbelievable. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you. It's kind of surreal, man. Winning back-to-back is, I don't know. I still kind of, I wake up and I keep thinking, did we really win it? And, yeah, we did, man. Back-to-back, baby.
Well, I tell you what, man, I know I've heard your journey and what's going on with everything else. And bear with me, everybody. I got to put this on the story. Share this as much as you can, guys, because you're in for a really, really big treat with Coach Mark Berokoff. Mark, did you share this on yours?
I did.
So hold on. We got to get it on live. There it is. 1, 2, 3. Boom. There you go. It's on the story. It is on the story that we are on live. Now, Coach, really tell us your story. Kind of tell us, I know you grew up in California, but you were a high school coach, AAU coach, and pro coach, and college coach. Tell everybody your story and how amazing it has been.
Well, okay. Played at Whittier Christian High School, football, basketball. Played then college basketball at Nebraska Christian College for Coach Lamb, who still coaches right now, won 500 games.
Right.
And got into coaching at Sonora High School as a sophomore coach, as coaching the head coach of the sophomore basketball team. And then the next year I was the youngest head coach in Orange County at Heritage Christian. And
OC, for all you guys who remember that TV show, the OC, that's where Mark was.
Yeah, right. Took that team to the CIF finals and got beat. And then the very next year, I got a job at Calvary Chapel Downey as the head coach and went to the finals and won it with Tim Drisdom, who played for LA Rockfish and went to Utah, played there for 4 years. Went on this great journey to Morro Bay High School, which was my dream high school job. And then I got convinced by this wonderful, awesome human being to go coach professionally. And the journey was a wild journey for about a year. And then let's see, I don't know. I was at Louisiana Tech for a year, Hill College, junior college in Texas for a year, Texas State, and then I found Randall University. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So it's been a long, long road.
Now tell us about Randall University. I mean, it's a small school, Christian school. Tell us about it and your experiences over there. Now you're the men's basketball coach and the AD?
I'm the men's basketball coach, athletic director, and I'm one of the professors in the business department teaching in the sports management department. So, yeah, Randall University is a small private Christian college. There's about 350 kids in there right now, and a lot of athletes. It's a great ministry programs, and we've got exercise science, psychology, business, secondary education. So for a small school, we have a lot of good degrees, and we've been very successful with our academic side right now.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, following, and I've been to several of your games, just the high scoring that goes on at that level really is, it's almost like playing a video game and you're on turbo, or you like punch in the code and you're just going, 100 miles an hour. I mean, that style of play is probably something you've been used to the whole time.
It's kind of how I've always played as a coach. I wasn't a big defensive guy when I played, and that's just kind of carried over to my coaching. I like guys that could shoot, and we've been in the top 2 or 3 in America in scoring the last 5 years. And I mean, we put up 90 points on a Division I team this year, and yeah, we like to score, and I like guys that could really shoot the ball. And our philosophy is, if you're open, shoot it, and if you don't shoot it, then you're coming out. So how hard is it to play for that?
It can't be that hard. Now, I mean, being at a small school, and of course, going back to your roots, let's go back and it's really what we do here. We want to tackle things such as leadership, communication, and culture. And when you go back to, your days as a high school coach, talk about what were kind of some influences and kind of standards or values that you've put together in terms of your leadership style.
I think something like in high school, I always preach to our kids that basketball is secondary. Getting a degree or getting your high school diploma and going to class and being a good person around the campus and the community, and not just being basketball players, but being friends with everybody on campus. That's kind of where we started with our culture. And I think so many kids today just get so focused in on, I'm on this team and I'm only going to talk to these guys on this team. We kind of made it a point that we wanted our guys to get involved with everything and go to the volleyball games and go to the football games and get to know the other coaches and the other athletes. So that's kind of where, as a young coach, I kind of really started to try to get my players aware of other things that are going on. And I still do that today. I mean, our guys are in college, are still really involved with all aspects of our campus life. And I mean, that's just an easy way to start culture in your program is get your kids out so that they're not just known as basketball players or just as athletes.
Now, when you talk about the culture, but obviously that stems from obviously being a leader, and you've been a head coach for so many years. What are some things that you've seen as a head coach that, coaches moving up, and not just coaches, I'm talking about leaders in community, leaders in the workplace. Like, what are some things that you have seen that has to happen in order to have effective leadership?
Well, that's a tough question, but I think young coaches need to get out and meet a lot of people. They need to go and seek advice from guys that have been coaching for a long time. And it doesn't just have to be basketball. It could be the football coach on campus, the baseball coach, the volleyball coach. They need to go out and ask questions and get to know other coaches and how they're doing things. And while you're kind of developing your leadership style, find out what other people's leadership styles are like and get to know other people. And don't just sit in your office or in this little cocoon of saying, this is how I'm going to do it and this is the only way to do it. You need to expand your mind a little bit and find out how other people are doing it. Not always other people are doing it the right way, but you can also learn about how people are doing it and how you don't want to do it. There's just a lot of ways, especially with today's day and age and video and Skype sessions and texting. You need to go out and meet people and really begin to network.
Well, I mean, all of those things, the networking part, going out to different people, meeting them has been just a big, I know for me, it's just a big influence, working here for Coach P, but also working at different places. And you kind of get both experiences, which I think is key with everything. But let's go back. Like, what are some things that obviously you're probably a different head coach now than you were before. Talk about the differences in your leadership style from when you were the coach at Calvary Chapel, where you won a championship in California, to where you are now at the college level, working in a different environment and winning the national championship back to back.
Yeah, when I was younger, my leadership style was more like abrasive and got to be yelling and be into the guys all the time and constantly stressed out about things. And that Calvary Chapel Downey team, their personalities were not. And if there was something that group taught me was that you can coach under control and relaxed and be having a good time. And you don't have to yell all the time. And I think as a young coach, I yelled a lot and demanded so much out of guys that now I'm more relaxed. I mean, I raise my voice when I need to. And it's funny when you do that on just certain times, not all the time, the guys really know when you're upset. But if you're always constantly yelling, the guys are kind of like, they kind of tune that out. But now when I raise my voice, the guys kind of understand, coach is upset today, or coach isn't having a good day. But I've learned to, relax, and you don't always have to be yelling and demanding. And I smile a lot more when I coach. And I think a relaxed team is a lot better than an uptight team. So that's probably the biggest thing I've learned over the years.
Ooh, I like that. A relaxed team is much better than an uptight team. Now, and we're going to keep shifting now. Your communication style, I've known you for years. You are very upfront. You are very up and honest with the players. Has that changed over the years, or has it gotten better or worse?
No, I will always be honest and upfront with the guys. I don't want to tell them something and then go against what I tell them. I'm like, this is how it is. This is what you need to work on. This is why you're not playing. This is why you are playing. This is how you get on the floor. It's better to be open and honest, and because there's no secrets. There's no kid can't come back in your office 2 days later and you said this, but now you're not doing this. Honesty is just an easy thing to be with players, and I think kids will respect you more if you're open and honest with them, because a lot of kids don't want to hear what you have to say, but boy, they sure respect and appreciate the honesty. So there's no hidden agendas, and I think as a young coach, I just always made it a point to be honest. And as I'm getting older and older now, and have been doing this for 23, 24 years, it's just easier to bring a kid in your office and say, hey, this is how it's going to be. This is how it is. This is what you've got to do. So there's no hidden agendas, or there's no secrecy or anything like that. So.
Yeah, I've always thought that if you're upfront with them, they're going to respect you a lot more. I mean, all they want is honesty. I think they want to know what's going on. They want to have immediate feedback, and that really is like the big thing. I mean, people talk a lot about millennials, and I always tell people all the time, coaches have a firsthand look at millennials every single day. If you don't know how to handle millennials, talk to a coach.
Yeah,
we'll know how to deal with it. Have you seen a difference in the kids you are coaching today from 10, 15 years ago, or is it the same and their upbringing is different?
Kids to me are always going to be the same. I think their upbringing is different. I mean, a great example is when you're recruiting a kid and you call them on the phone and they don't answer, and 2 seconds later you text them and they're like, hey coach, what's going on? And you say, I just called you. Like, yeah, I know, what's up? If that, it's driving on road trips. Instead of kids talking to each other, they're on their phones talking to each other right next to each other. When I played, and I didn't play at a very high level, but at Nebraska Christian College, we rode in vans, which my teams do still to this day. But we would play cards, and we would have communication, we would talk, and we would listen to sports radio and talk about it. Kids now, they're playing video games on their phone. They're texting with each other on their phone. So it takes a little bit more of creativity to get kids to really open up and talk. So, I mean, that might be the big difference, where in the past you call a kid on the phone and he's excited to hear from you. Now they're excited to hear a text from you. So you got to be a little bit more creative with kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you talk about recruiting, and I think when you're recruiting either for a sports program or out there in the real world, we like to say it's really hard. You're trying to get a gauge for them and everything else. How big of an impact has social media been in recruiting, been in your world at Randall, but also personally? Has that elevated or made things worse, you think?
Social media has been huge, and I have a really good assistant coach in Matthew Mossman that really does the social media really well. We have gotten some really good kids off of social media, off of Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Kids love it. Kids love seeing 5-second clips of a highlight of somebody dunking, or just a graphic of how you've done, or that your game's going to be live streamed. Social media has been huge. I have not seen anything negative for us. I mean, if the biggest negativity would be is how kids are using social media. So we're now more constantly watching what our guys are doing on social media. But in terms of recruiting and dealing with kids, social media has been unbelievable. It's easy to get a hold of kids on social media.
And do you see social media as an issue for young people as they move on in past college life, when they move on to their 20s and 30s? There's been a lot of arguments that social media keeps them secluded and not being able to become, sort of like what they would call like a well-rounded individual.
Well, I think if anything, social media, what it's done is, when you were a kid and we were kids, you could drive around the street and you see people out there shooting baskets or playing football on the street, or you see people playing baseball at the school. You don't see that anymore. You very rarely see somebody out riding their bike or hanging out with their friends. Why? Because they're in there playing video games. They're on their phones. They're playing games on their phones. They're talking to people on their phones. So in that sense, yeah, that's been a negative thing. But I almost look at it with Twitter and all this stuff. Kids are more informed of what's going on out there. There's a lot more news that they're finding out about. just if, in anything, not even sports, but it's easy to find out information now on social media. But on the negative side, you just don't see kids out playing anymore. Kids playing basketball at the playground, it's unheard of now.
Yeah, no,
Right?
it totally is, and I agree with you. I think the amazing thing is when you have like this device. I mean, the kids today, and I say kids, and I use obviously teenagers or young adults. They're basically carry around like a computer in their pocket every time. Imagine like we were growing up and we had to go on and log on and take like 10 minutes for the computer to come on. I mean, this is probably the best business developing you could do, as a young person and trying to reach out to different people. I think too many of us try and stop it instead of embracing it and learning it and saying, what can we do to improve? I really think with these things, there is no reason why we've lost Coach Berokoff. We've lost him. Anyways, we're talking about all the different things. We lost Coach Berokoff. I don't know where he is. I don't know if he's going to be able to get back on. Where'd you go? But that's all right. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We'll probably have some more segments with Coach Berokoff later on. But you've got to check it out. Please visit rusaints. Oh, wait. I think he's coming back on. He could be. But either way, log on his website, rusaints.com. Oh, Mark, you're back. We were worried about you for a little.
Me? I was worried about you.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, we're back, though.
Yes, we are.
They can't hold us down.
They can't. They can't hold it. Let's see. We got a couple comments here already. Jeffrey Berokoff has put a couple comments up. Studs and high five. Let's go back. First of all, tell us your Instagram handle because I want people to follow you on Instagram. You do something every single day. I want you to explain that to the people, please.
Okay. It's just M. Berokoff is my Instagram handle. I don't know. I came up with this thing when I was in China this last summer, and I noticed with the people in China that it was hard to communicate because I didn't know Chinese very well. But every time I high-fived somebody, they smiled. And it was an instant way into the conversation. So I just started. I try to do 1 or 2 high-five videos per week, maybe 1 per week. Just getting people to go out and smile at somebody, high-five somebody, because a high-five goes a long way. It's amazing how good people feel when you high-five somebody. If you really think about it, the high-five is just an instant conversation starter. Yeah. And that's kind of the basis of the high-five videos, is just to get people to get out and meet.
Yeah. And if you guys, when you watch him, I mean, you're going to go through his Instagram page. There's going to be all these so-called pictures of himself, but they're messages every single day. They're motivation, inspirational messages to get you to smile, to get you to high-five someone. I think some things that we do, especially in coaching, we take it, and we do take it seriously because it's about helping young people. It's about getting them to another level and everything else. But you've got to check them out. Like what besides that? Like what inspired? Now you've been doing it ever since you came back from China, and you came back from China last summer. So why do you do it every day?
It's my wife told me we were coming back from California from a fly fishing trip with my brother's side, his family, and I got up on the top of this one mountain, and my wife's got, you just need to do a video. Everybody loves thinks you're funny, so go do videos. Yes. The whole idea of it is I want people to smile. I could care less about me. I mean, I'm not. It's not about promoting me. I just want people to get out and understand that there are other people out there that maybe need a high five to have a better.
Whole time, every single one of it. So you're back?
Yeah, I've never left.
It's crazy. I mean, this is interesting. I don't know if it's the internet connection. Either way, that's fine. Coach, I want you to can you give us like 3 things? And some of the things that we try and do as well too, and we do a conference here called Moving Up. It helps people focus on the 3 cores: leadership, communication, culture, but also helping them in their career. What are maybe 2 or 3 things that you can advise young people as they move up in their career or in their coaching career if they want to go in that direction?
I mean, one, you got to network. Two, you need to be real and not be fake. People could see through that, especially in the coaching world, and not just basketball. People understand that people are looking for jobs. You need to be sincere in your conversations with people, because there's so many people looking for coaching jobs. It's the people, I think, that set themselves aside from other people is the people that are real and honest. And so network, communication, and honesty. And, third, better yourself. Learn from other people. Learn and not be afraid to fail, and not be afraid to ask a question that might make somebody else on the other end say, oh, I don't know what he's talking about. If you want the answer to it, seek it out. Look for advice from other people that have been doing it for a long time, and do not be afraid to fail.
Yeah, I think failure, I saw this one quote, the sooner you can figure out how to fail faster, the sooner you'll be able to bounce back.
Yep.
And bouncing back is a huge, huge part of it. I know for your players, for them to come back and everything else. What are, and I like 3 or 4 things, but what are maybe a couple things or 3 things that you saw your program do or your team do this year to get them to win back-to-back championships? Because it's hard to win one. It is really, really hard to go back-to-back.
Yeah, and I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. I'm not saying that winning the first one was easy, but winning a second one, I wasn't prepared. I did enough research and talked to enough people and read about enough things to try to figure out how to win back-to-back and what you go through. But until I actually went through it, it's extremely difficult. I think, one, our kids were resilient. They were able to bounce back after bad situations. And 3, they never stopped believing in our system, in our coaches, and in our program. They never lost the belief. And, our program is an underdog program anyways. I mean, we were, the last 2 years, we've been 21 out of the last 24 weeks, we've been the unanimous #1 team in the country. And when it came time for the national tournament, everybody just threw that out the window and said, you guys aren't very good, and we don't think you're good enough to be a top seed. So we got the 4 seed. And our kids took that as, that's where we need to be. We're the underdogs. Not many people believe in us. So our kids kind of adapted to different situations. Their adaptability was unbelievable. The big thing, Coach, is I think resilient. We were really resilient this year. That's what I would say.
Now, do you teach them that? Like, do you teach the resiliency? Do you teach them to keep moving forward? Like, what kind of student athletes do you get at Randall, and are you teaching them right from the beginning, or do you get them like midway through the development so you could push them to the next level?
Yeah, for our basketball program right now, we have a lot of kids that local colleges absolutely missed on, that they should have been recruited by the schools in the Oklahoma and in the areas around us. So our kids come in with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. We're an underdog, and that's why I'm at Randall, and I want to prove people wrong. Right. So we kind of get that from the beginning with them. But 2, we put them through a schedule where they're not going to always be successful. And if anybody looks at our schedule, it's not just your typical small Christian college schedule. We play an extremely challenging schedule, and there is a lot of failure on our schedule. So our kids are learning as the season is going about failure. And I think that always helps us come tournament time, because we have seen everything there is to see when it comes to tournament time. And our kids are kind of brought in to be resilient and to be tough.
Now, you gave me a book by Dwayne Cummings. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Talk about the book. Talk about, I know you meant he's an author. Great book. I enjoyed reading it all together. But talk about him, your relationship with him, and what he's meant to you and your program.
Yeah, we met him a couple years ago, and he came in and actually went through our first national championship journey with us. He just taught our kids to be real, not to be fake about anything you're doing. If this is what you want to do, then these are the steps you need to go and take to get them, and not to be afraid of failure, not to be afraid of a challenge. And we kind of took that on as a mission in our program the last few years, and we still really hold to the book and the values that he brought to us. And yeah, I mean, he's a great guy, and he knows when you're kind of being not real, so to speak. And he challenged our guys. He challenged our guys in terms of a leadership and not being afraid, because a lot of kids nowadays are afraid to be a leader. It's not cool to be a leader and to challenge a teammate or to tell a teammate you're not doing something right. And one of his big things was, and we really didn't do it because it was kind of tough, but he said, every day when your guys come to practice, and if they don't practice hard, take their shoes out of their locker so they can't practice the next day. And he says that'll tell you how many kids actually really care about the program. And it's got to be a challenge. Challenge yourselves, challenge your teammates, and don't be afraid of so-and-so not liking you because you called him out for not having a good practice. And our program, with our leadership, we have guys calling each other out in practice. Hey, you didn't practice hard today, or you're not getting in the gym today. You need to get in the gym. And we've got guys texting each other saying, hey, I'm shooting at 7 p.m. tonight. You going to be there? So that's kind of what we took from Dwayne, was that.
No, that's awesome. And those are things, I think, one of the big things, and we do it here as well too, but in terms of pulling teammates to pull their other teammates.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, leadership, they always say leadership is taking someone with you, you know, to get somewhere. And those are, I mean, I can't tell you how important that is. And for anyone watching or listening, it's the same thing. It's getting people to empower them, to make them really, really feel like they can do some great things. Now, you've got a great support staff, Coach. You know, you've got a lovely, beautiful wife. You got a beautiful daughter. How do you handle being a husband, a father, a coach to your whole program, and on top of that, pretty much running an athletic program?
Yeah, my wife is 100% unbelievable. I mean, when they say a great coach's wife, she is, I mean, it's undescribable how good she is to me and allowing me to be a coach, because you're not around often. And one of the big reasons why I really didn't enjoy Division I basketball was because I seemed to be always in the office and never at home. One of the best things that I've done in my coaching in this program is I take my daughter on the road with me, and she sits on the bench for all of our games, and she holds the clipboard, and she's involved in the timeouts. She's involved with the team. And one of my biggest recruiting pitch to our
We are again.
I'm back. I'm here.
It's all right. You were midstream.
Yep.
And you were talking about now the little people don't know, like right now you have your daughter with you, but I remember when you were a high school coach and your wife had the scorebook, right? And she was doing the scorebook at the scorer's table.
That's correct.
I mean,
the best story, H, I could tell you about this is my wife, and I am notorious for not taking timeouts. Notorious for it. Anybody that knows me knows this. And sometimes I let it go too long, and my assistants get more frustrated with that. But anyways, we're in a big game, and it was with the high school team, Heritage Christian, and my wife slammed her fist on the scorer's table and says, "Take a timeout." And obviously I did. Of course, you got to listen to your wife. But that's one of the best coaching stories that I have. That just tells you my wife cares about the process and she cares about the program. And it's funny, as you get older now, with like the guys on the team now, they call her mom. She's been able to walk out with some of them on senior night. So yeah, it's like I was saying, I don't know if you caught it. When our program wins a championship, my wife wins a championship also, because without her dedication to our program and my daughter's dedication, we wouldn't win. And it's like after this year when we won, the first year we won, I went right to my wife and hugged her before anything else. This year I went right to my daughter, who was right on my bench with me, and I hugged her, because without them, I mean, I wouldn't be able to make it.
Yeah. Now, how long have you been married for?
You're gonna get me in trouble now.
20-something years.
21 years, maybe
Right?
22.
We're gonna do 20-something. That sounds pretty good. For all the coaches, male or female, or just people in general who are entering. I mean, any career is taxing. But what is some maybe 2 or 3 points of advice that you could share with them on how to make it work?
To me, it's easy, and it's hard for me to say this because I struggle with it too. Because your job is constantly talking and communication and dealing with people, and being in the office is not the cool thing to do. You don't have to be in the office all hours of the night to prove you're getting work done. That's number one. Number two, when you get home, you need to leave the basketball at the office and at the gym or the arena, and you need to be able to communicate with your family, with your spouse. And that's a very hard thing to do, and because they want to know what's going on in your life, and you need to let them know what's going on. And I struggle with that still. Those are easy things. It's just because you're sitting in the office all hours does not mean you're outworking people. You can outwork people from 8 to 3 or from 9 to 12. You can outwork people. I think there's just coaching, and not just basketball, but it's so much about I got to outwork this coach and I've got to outwork this program. Sometimes you try to think you're convincing yourself you're outworking these programs that you're forgetting what's going on in your own household. Yeah. And a happy wife or husband really makes it easy to be a good coach.
I'm typing that down for everybody to see that. Don't forget what's going on in your household. Hopefully I didn't misspell anything. I've been misspelling words all over on this broadcast. But that right there is so important, I think. And you put out an article probably about 2 weeks ago, just touching on that point. I mean, first of all, we talked about the word grind is the most overused word, I think, in the coach's verbal library. And the reality is, it's like people make choices to stay in the office. Now, it all depends on the impact that you make. I mean, having a daughter, and having a wife and 2 dogs, right? You're a huge Washington Redskins fan, so you got the 2 dogs. Let me get this right. Riggins
and Gibbs.
I was about to say Theismann again, but that's
I want our next dog to be Theismann, but the ladies in the household said no.
For you, what does it mean to be a coach? Like, you go to work every day. Everyone always says, well, it's about making better. And I mean, the reality is, we've got to win as well too. But for you to be doing it for as long as you have, like, what does it mean to be a coach to you?
Well, first, let me go back and touch on that whole grind thing, right? Let me go back because there is no such thing as being a grinder. I'm sorry. Being a grinder is a guy that is working in the field and doing back-breaking work, working in a factory. As coaches, we're not doing that. We're sitting in air-conditioned gyms. Not me, but guys are flying all over the country watching basketball. Right. Sorry, that's not grinding. That's called doing a job you love. Working in a field is not doing a job you love. So, coaching. I love to coach because I love to be around kids and see them get success. I like to see, and it doesn't have to be a successful winning team. I like seeing any team start and get better as the year progresses, and seeing them as human beings get better as basketball players and as human beings. And that's where I get my satisfaction out of coaching. I got more satisfaction watching my brother play in a CIF championship game and his journey getting there than I did of my own getting ready for the national tournament. That stuff means more to me. That stuff just means a lot to me. That's what I like seeing from coaching. I like seeing others have success and other coaches have success and my players have success. And being a coach is a teacher. You're teaching every single day. Every single day, you might not be thinking it, but you're impacting lives every single day, even though they're not maybe telling you, because you don't know what's going on with your players all the time and what's going on inside. And maybe just by a simple word of encouragement might help them in their day of something that they're not telling you about what's going on in their own life. And that's the stuff that I really enjoy.
No, that's awesome. That is awesome stuff, Coach. I appreciate it. Tell us, I put the site up earlier, but tell us where they can reach you, where they could go ahead and talk to you, or if they're interested into Randall University, where they can get a hold of Coach Mark Berokoff at Randall?
Well, simple. I have no problem doing this. So if you want to email me, it's just mberokoff@ru.edu. And our school, we just, within the last 3 months, purchased a brand new athletic website, and it's rusaints.com. And so if anybody out there is interested in our program, simple to get on there and check out our website. And, Instagram is mberokoff. And, yeah, I would love to hear from anybody. Any advice, anything, anybody needing advice. That's why I'm in coaching. I've been doing it long enough now. If anybody needs help, or if you're looking for a job and you need to know somebody, just ask. I'm here because I remember what it was like 20 years ago when I was trying to get involved. And I've been doing this long enough. It's time. I'm willing to help whoever and whenever.
Coach, that is awesome, man. I have put your email address and the website right here on the bottom. I hope I'm pointing at the right one. It's all right there. Folks, you guys got to go ahead and really, really go on rusaints.com. Learn more about Mark Berokoff. He's more than just a coach. Hopefully you got some great nuggets on leadership, communication, culture. Obviously, he is an amazing family man, and comes from a great family as well, too, in terms of his upbringing and what goes on. Reach out to him. He got us contagious today. He helped us get better today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you on the next Facebook Live with the Tribe. All right, guys.
Peace.